So we'll take a quick look here at how we use the self-checkout mode, as this is coming up more and more often. How to override a transaction as well using a cashier login in self-checkout mode to add or delete items within the transaction. So first thing we need to do is we're going to double check under General Setup, under our kiosk configuration, that our kiosk is set in run mode to self-checkout. So this is a little bit different, of course, in standard mode where we have lots of graphics and categories and pieces tied into a quick menu. This is self-checkout where everything is intended to be driven through barcoding. So I've already made this change to my kiosk. I've already done the data sync. So we're going to go ahead now and take a look at what this looks like at our POS end of things. Okay, so hopping into the kiosk, we're going to touch the screen to begin. Mine's in dual language, so we're going to bypass that. But as we can see, it comes straight into a bit of a different looking screen. This is self-checkout. Everything in here, for the most part, will be put in by barcodes. So I'm going to be scanning in barcoded items. As we can see, a bag of chips has been scanned in. One thing that's different, though, is the customer has no way to add or remove items from within their transaction. So generally, it's causing a lot of canceling of order and having to restart from scratch if they enter an incorrect item. And as we can see, this would be troublesome, especially if the transaction has quite a number of items in it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to click on the question mark up here at the top, which allows us to now enter an employee ID. So I'll go ahead and enter my employee ID, scan my employee card, swipe it, however I'm going to get in. But as we can see now, I have the availability over here to the right to change the quantity and delete items that may have been incorrectly entered. So I'll go ahead and hit the delete here. It's hard in TeamViewer sometimes to see where the mouse went, but I'll delete that. We'll say yes. I can change the quantity of items in here. So for example, I may want to add more. No, I don't want to delete that, but I do want to add more. Again, blind clicking, but the idea is there. I can, hopefully somewhere in here, add more. Either way, once I'm done, I can go through and hit the question mark again to sign back out again. I'm going to exit out of cashier mode and say yes. Takes me out of cashier mode. We can see that the add, remove, and delete buttons are all gone. If I am a customer at this point, I can put myself in as customer login. The other difference in self-checkout mode is that if someone has a weigh scale item in hand, like salad bar or hot food counter, weigh scale item will give them a list of any available scale items that are part of this kiosk menu set. If I choose salad bar in this case and hit done, it's going to prompt me to put it onto the scale that should be attached to the kiosk if this is in use, and it tells me how much it is per pound or kilogram. So I'll just cancel out of this, and we can go through and complete our transaction, go to our payment screen at this point. Okay, so I'm just going to bypass my charity, pay here, going to on account it. I'll put my person into the transaction and just go through a couple of prompts because we have uneligible items, but it does eventually bill out. If we have the prompt turned on for emailing receipt, we'll also see this at the end of it all too. So hopefully that helps clarify how a cashier can come into a self-serve kiosk, and when it's the self-checkout mode, to modify or remove an item. Okay, so let's go through it just quickly one more time. Touch the screen, English, scan our items in. So now I've put in a couple of this item. Maybe I scanned one by accident, double scanned it. Question mark lets me go in as a cashier. So I can swipe a card. I can put in a number, however we're going to do it. Okay, I'm in as a employee. I just swiped a card. And now I can go through and try to modify by deleting some of these items or changing my quantities and all of that from this particular mode. There we go. I finally able to hit the plus sign, but we can see the quantity is increasing because I just put a whole bunch of them in. Okay, when I'm done changing quantities or deleting items, I'm going to take myself out, say yes, and I can go through and complete my transaction at this point. Okay, so that's how we can log in as a cashier in self-checkout mode.